Hi, welcome back to Strange Orphan. I'm your host, Laura Steinell. Do you know who I am by now? Do I have to keep saying that I'm Laura Steinell? I don't know. Well, there might be new people. Hi, welcome back to Strange Orphan. If you don't know who I am by now, leave. I don't like that intro either. I'm in Texas. Guys, we did it. We made it to Texas. You've still got Strange Orphan on the road, hence the weird backdrop and this slightly, I feel like the lighting I've had to jerry rig here, it feels slightly like I'm in Fiona Apple's like criminal video. And that's a great video, but for right now I don't know if it's the vibe I want. I don't want to feel like a criminal. Who knows? But this is what we're working with tonight. This is what we're working with on this episode. Because I'm on the road and I'm in the great state of Texas. I gotta say, it's definitely weird. First of all, I should mention, I did it again, and I've somehow, after everything I said last week about Airbnb and the bed sheets, I just did it to myself again. I booked an Airbnb, thinking this time would be different. Airbnb is like a toxic relationship where you just keep going back thinking it won't hurt this time. And somehow it hurts worse every time. It's like so painful. So I booked this Airbnb. I went through the pictures like a crime scene investigation. Like I scoured these pictures, but they're like AI generated. They're not even real. So the pictures of what I saw were like these airbrushed, blown out, like everything was nice. And then in reality, it was such a sad letdown. And I'm okay with like the place being a letdown. What I'm not okay with, where I do draw the line, is when there's cockroaches inside of it. I think that's a pretty understandable line to draw. So I called the host and I was like, hey, you guys have some bugs here. And I get it. This is Texas. Like, you're going to have bugs in Texas. I used to live here. I get it. But oof, that's not a warm welcome. So I tried to get out of it and they wouldn't let me out of it. And then I got into this war. It's just basically a war of attrition with Airbnb. They just wear you down with this whole BS of, we'll contact the host. And it's like, the host doesn't want to help me. The host took my money. They already won. The host won. I'm now the loser because I can't get out of this reservation because it's non-refundable. It's kind of set up in a way where, like, if you're dealt a bad joint, you take the L. And I took a big fat cockroach L. They're just laughing. Those little cockroaches are just having a giggle in my bed sheets, probably. So I can firmly say, like, Airbnb has let me down. And there's other things that are just off about the place. Like, it's super small. Like, the pictures are distorted in a way where they're AI generated, like I said, and they're distorted in a way that makes the place look big and bright and clean. And then you get here and it's like JCPenney's catalog version of it. It's like not the actual thing that you thought you were buying. It's just a bait and switch. It's not cute. There's no blankets. I'm freezing. I never thought I'd say that in Texas, but it's been raining here. But yeah, it really sent me into a tizzy. And it brought up like much bigger concepts that I've been trying to battle in my mind. Like it opened up like a Pandora's box of wounding because A, I should have known better, and so then I'm beating myself up for that. But B, this is my Achilles cockroach. Like, this is my Achilles heel, is this constantly trying to understand home and find home, and it always just being this evasive, out of reach thing that I can't like home. Like I have no blueprints for home. I have no For the past 5 years, I've been at war with myself of like trying to nail down home. And so when you wind up in these circumstances where, we're not in the fancy hotel anymore because you can't do that for a month while you look for addresses. And what all of a sudden like things get too real and all of a sudden you're like, wait, is this my reality now? Like am I like a person that like why am I homeless? And whew, I mean, I'm telling you, it's like I feel like I'm on the road with my little dog and some ridiculously capacious bags. And I feel uh like Wendy in The Wizard of Oz. Like I don't know how, like there's no place like home. And I don't know how to find it. And I've been at war with myself over this concept of home. And I'll get into it in this episode. This episode is about my my issue with trying to settle down and how difficult it has been for me to just nail down a place and live there. And it's really hard because it's like I don't know why I don't have blueprints for home. I mean, I know why I don't have healthy blueprints for home, but I don't know why, because I'm aware of it. I don't know why I haven't been able to override it. Like I don't know why it's still a thing that's plaguing me. And that's really frustrating. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this episode of like, why am I allergic to home? Like, and it's been ever since COVID. I've just been, I've just been plagued by this affliction, this dilemma of like, I want home deeply. And when I try to achieve home, it like slips through my fingers like sand. Something always is not right about it. And I don't know, I'm gonna try to unpack it in this episode of why I can't maintain a home, or why I don't have, I feel like one of those like serial killers that are like just like perplexed on the stand that are like, tell me what I'm doing and I'll stop doing it. Like it's almost like it's so like the damage I'm doing in my own life when it comes to building a foundation for myself and just settling into an address. It's like the brain can't the logical brain almost can't see what it's doing. I don't know why I outrun home. And so I've been thinking about it a lot this past week. Me and the cockroaches have just been like holding a powwow. I've been throwing some ideas by them. What do you guys think? Why how is something that I want so badly unobtainable? And so I have been thinking about it and I wanted to talk about it in this episode because I know I can't be the only person who's like a constant uprooter. I've moved a lot. I've moved a lot, but the moving really kicked up a notch after COVID and separating from the fam. It's like suddenly you just feel this like internal untethered feeling or like this waywardness that becomes like your inner state. And I think that whenever I would find an apartment, that uneasiness would creep in slowly of like, this feels weird or you're not safe here. Honestly, I think a large part of it is like safety and security, like our foundational understanding of safety and security, that's like programmed in our first home, right? And so if your first home didn't give you any of that, yeah, you might feel like home isn't safe. I certainly had that growing up. Um, I don't know if I've mentioned, but like there was this feeling of like you never knew you kind of felt like a sitting duck in my house. You never knew when the next lunatic was gonna fly through the door. Like if I hear a garage door, if I hear any door slam shut or like a garage open late at night, I like immediately jolt up because there was so much emotional instability and it would just fly through the bedroom door and it would just come right at you. Like my mom would just burst into my room in the middle of the night and you can't you're you're a child and it's terrifying. And then like don't even what on the times I upset them, it's like the fuse was so short. Like anything, like asking for a snack at the wrong time could be like you're gonna murder suey threat on the way to school. Like don't ask for don't ask for a ride. You just learn to like scan the faces. Is she gonna pop off? There was never any um there was never any acknowledgement or repair. You're just constantly living in an upside down house. There was never any reconciliation. There was never any accountability. So you're also like losing your mind in a home like that. Like you just threatened to like end your life on the way to band practice. I know I'm supposed to like go learn how to play the violin now. All this stuff, like we just got dumped on, man. It was just so much emotional vomit. And then the way you survived it, the way I survived that house was to flee. The only way you can like stay alive is to say, well, I know the answer is out there, so I just got to get out of there. I just got to get out of here. And I survived by running off to my friends' homes. I think I lived like all of junior year at like up in my friend's room. We would just stay up all night and watch like weird uh MTV shows. MTV had some really awful programming for millennials. Like everything was like there was this one show we used to watch called like Are You Hot or Not? And we would watch it at like 2 a.m. and it was like this awful show about just like judging people by their looks. And I think that all millennials, this is a total tangent by the way, but I think a lot of millennials were so traumatized by much how much criticism went into our appearance. Like no wonder we can't relax. But we would just like watch a bunch of junk and then, fail your test the next day. And so my concept of home and when home felt uncomfortable was to escape. The other thing that I'm just now thinking about is like it also in that old home and it always felt like the nightmare and the drama and the chaos was mine to solve. Like I've got to do something. When what's there to do? And so that discomfort of not being able to fix the discomfort is also a big part of it. Like you feel like you should be more like on guard or getting in front of something. It's hard to articulate, but you never can rely. You're never like at rest. And then that paired with this orphan ideology of like home is someplace out there. Like so the fantasy of if I just run away, I'll find my home. Like if I just keep searching for it out there, I'll stumble upon the right house with the right heads around a kitchen table that will love me and feed me food and not scream at me. All these subconscious beliefs we have that like just keep us running. And I'm trying to undo them, but they're like, this is like my battle. This is like my deepest, oldest battle that like you're not safe where you sleep. It sucks. And it just lingers in the body like an old fart. Like Like, how do I get rid of this old feeling? It's interesting. The last time I lived in Texas, I lived in a very outskirted area, which I guess is just like normal Austin, but for someone who had no car, I felt like I was in the middle of nowhere. But I would watch these, I called them the Samsonites because they carried this luggage around with them. And they would like, and they were sunburnt, they were like kind of like, I don't know where they were going. They were always just kind of like going between the bus stop and the dollar stores and the other dollar store and like making like, crackhead routes. They were on crackhead routes. I don't know what else to call it. They were up to no good. But the flight of the Samsonites, it would start early in the morning and I would hear their rolly wheels coming down the block. And it kind of like traumatized me because I was like, am I just them with a boarding pass? Like, I think when you're trying to escape something, you don't realize you're going nowhere. You're in the inferno. You're just going around in circles. And they would go from the bus stop to the library to the dollar store to like a fight down the street. And then they would do this route with their luggage. And I just was like, oh my God, I feel like they're like the ghost of Christmas future if you really blow it, if you really go down a bad path. And to be honest, it's kind of scary because there's some sort of weird flight pattern I'm in myself with uprooting. And so I've been thinking about the Samsonites and like, how do I get rooted, right? How do I deal with this dilemma I have? And so I started to like watch my behavior. Like when I first got in here and I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this. Get me out of here. My first instinct was like, we're going back to the hotel. And it's like, well, that's how you lose all your resources, Laura. Hold on a minute. At least there's some part of my brain that's thinking somewhat reasonably now these days. But I was like, I'll just hold on. And so I noticed like in my body, there's like a surge of fright of like, we have to flee. And so I've been trying to trace that back. I think I know where it started. I think I know the origins of that one, but none of it is conducive to like having any sort of abundant, flourishing life. Like, so then I've been getting into trying to understand like the energy of safety and the energy of, I've been really studying like what is foundation and resources. So there's this like very intricate connection between our resources, our money, our energy, our time, and our foundation. So like if you're constantly moving, you're constantly depleting your energy, you're constantly depleting resources, and you're constantly outputting. And so your ability to receive, they can't be happening at the same time. So here's a really interesting example. I was in Seattle, a couple weeks ago, and I saw this homeless guy with a sign who was like asking for money. But he was walking. He was like walking down the street. And like, so no one can give him money because he's on the move. He's still holding a sign asking for money while he's on the move. And it made it like physically impossible. Like you can't receive if you're a moving target. And I think that we carry that mentality, like to not be a sitting duck. You have to keep moving. You don't feel safe enough to sit and root and build because you don't feel safe enough to stay in one place. You can't build, you can't receive. You're gonna keep losing. And so I know that I have to like buck against this feeling in the body of like, well, it's time to go. It's like, well, hold on. Fight this feeling first. And then you can like fight with Airbnb. Fine, but fight this feeling too. If that makes sense. So in Texas, the last time I lived in Texas, I would go sit on the golf course and sit under these giant trees. And I had this like epiphany thought of like epiphanal. I had this epiphany of like trees are, they're palindromic. So if you see a very massive blooming tree, the roots are going to be in proportion to that bloom. And the bigness of life that you want to have, the expansion, the abundance, you need direct proportional roots to support that, to maintain that. And when we keep ripping our roots up just to go find safer soil, you have to start all over in the process of receiving again. And so it's actually more beneficial to you to stay rooted and to wait out the storm. Like trees they don't uproot and run when there's a storm. They just let the weather pass. And I've been really trying to like be more like a tree and less like a Ford Bronco, like don't uproot yourself because you feel the discomfort of let the tornado pass over you. You've got to hunker down and strap in and root yourself and let it pass, because these feelings they're weather, they're not facts, and you're not back in that old place. You're in somewhere entirely new. The body doesn't know it. The body doesn't know that you're safe. Like life is expansion. Life demands safety because safety is a prerequisite to expansion. Like when you think about life, like when I think of life, I think of like a flower bud opening, like a blooming. That is like quintessential, the essence of what life is. It's an expansion. It's a blossoming. And so like if you want to do that in your life, if you want any life at all, you need a basis of stability and safety. You can't be in survival. And anytime you're contracting and you're hiding and you're flinching and you're uprooting, you're kind of going in the opposite direction of what we're meant to do in life. Like you need to root so you can expand. And these are like concepts that are just so basic to some. And really, I'm 40. They take a while for some of us, and because you can't see the energy patterns of it, and you can't see what you're doing because it just doesn't feel safe to stay put, right? And that's what survival sucks. So the way I've tricked myself now is like, you may feel like I want to run out of this place, right? That's how I felt when I got here. I still don't love it, but they took like a lot of money, like half a kidney. I'd say it's like half a kidney to stay here. And I'm not going to just blow that. No. So I've got to hunker down and deal with these feelings of discomfort and deal with these fears I have of always being wayward, right? But by hunkering down and facing the fears, I face the weather instead of running from it. Because the running part, it exhausts more resources. It exhausts more energy. And the shrinking and the hiding is the opposite of doing my damn life. And I can't let that happen because that's how the terrorists win. So if you're faced with like, do I shrink or do I expand? You always have to choose expansion. I'm talking about like normal daily life. Like you always have to choose the expansive thing, because if you're not choosing the expansive thing, you're kind of going against the natural grain of your life. I should do a whole nother podcast about how like the nervous system is a whole thing. And my nervous system was really out of whack for a long time, and I couldn't hold a lot of stuff. And so you shrink, you hide. I was a big hider. But who would have thought that can apply to like just living in your own house? And you might be wondering like why I left Seattle. I was never supposed to live there to begin with. I went up there to clean out a storage unit and it lasted way too long. And it wasn't the right place for me. And I knew I needed to move on. But it's a scary transition when you're doing this with no people and no life rafts and no family. Like to anyone that is trying to survive with no family and no money and just living in their car, like you're a hero because what you're doing is you're trying to have a life that is not a just complete replica of the garbage, traumatic hellscape that you've had to put up with. Like you're trying to break that pattern. And it's so hard. It's hard. But it isn't like it's your right now. It's your world right now, but it isn't the truth. Like you're such a hero and you're such a legend and like you kind of have to remind yourself that you're fighting a battle even though it looks like you're just sleeping in your car, you know? I went to a coffee shop. I put in the GPS to go to a coffee shop around here because I'm not sitting in this place with Ted the cockroach. So I put in GPS to go to and I put in the wrong GPS and it actually brought me back to that old neighborhood that I used to live in. And I was like, well, I'm here now. I guess I'll get a coffee. And I used to go there when I was dealing with that tornado at that time when I was talking to trees and stuff. And what's really fascinating is like I have asked God for years now. Like, I just want safety. I just want security. I want a foundation. Like, I want to build a foundation. That's all I want. And I don't think the universe gives you that, what you ask for. I think they give you the obstacle course that you need to navigate in order to build yourself up so that you can hold what you're asking for. Like, God gives you the playbook and is like, sure, try these things. But you still have to like come out the other end having played the game, like having fought the battle. And so I wound up back at this old coffee shop that I used to go to when I was like living in Dante's Inferno. It was just like painful and agonizing. And it was almost like, oh, I see what's happening here. Like I've worked my way up a few rings and I'm starting to see the top of the mountain. If you know like anything about Dante's Inferno, he depicts hell as like the world, and then you kind of go up levels, and then you're in like limbo. I might have been today might have been more of a limbo situation. And then you get to heaven, you just keep going up, right? And I was like, oh, I see now. You can't just escape. You can't just run from any of it. You're just going to be brought right back. You're just going to be brought right back to what you're trying to run from. You can't escape it. You got to face it. You got to strap yourself to a metal pole and let that tornado pass over you. And you don't go anywhere because that exhausts you. And so I was like, what do I do with you, Airbnb? What do I do with you? And whereas when I started, I was like, I'm gonna get out of here. I want out. I want out of this. And I was like, no. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna speak up for myself. And I'm going to write a very strongly worded letter and let them know it shouldn't be like this. This is BS. This is garbanzo beans. These weren't the terms of the contract I signed. This wasn't what I asked for. You told me you were going to provide security and safety, and you didn't. And you failed. And I shouldn't have to run because you messed up. So I just sleep with cockroaches now. I don't. I killed them. I killed them. I killed them and I sent the pictures to Airbnb. Like, this is what you, this blood is on your hands, Airbnb. This blood is on your hands. But that's the battle I've been doing. I've been in the tornado this week, and I'm just freaking proud of myself that I didn't run out of here. Like, I broke some sort of pattern. And it doesn't mean that it's like easy or now. Like, I still feel the discomfort and I still want to run. But just being like aware of the impulse is huge for me. Like, I am proud of myself. I'm gonna take myself for an ice cream or something. And it's funny, it's like people are like, you gotta leave your comfort zone. It's like, well, for some of us, our comfort zone is leaving. So for some of us, like leaving your comfort zone is just staying put and letting the storm pass. And you realize, like, yeah, there's no place like home because you haven't stayed anywhere long enough to build it. You're not going to find home outside of you. It's an internal job. Like, if I want roots, if I want to bloom, I got to give myself some roots. And that's the journey I'm on right now, is just giving myself some dang roots that I don't have to rip up anymore. That said, if someone was like, please move to Copenhagen tomorrow, I'd be like, I'm on it. I'm on the next plane. I'll be there. But I have great hopes for Texas. I really love Austin, and I really love like sunshine. And I think it's like bloom where you're planted. Like, you got to make it work. You got to make it work. That's my new motto. But yeah, that's my rant. That's my rant on roots. Hope you stayed with me through all that. I'm trying to piece some things together. But I'm still working through my thesis on myself and my inner foundational issues. But yeah, but all that aside, like, I have really high hopes and I feel really good about it. I'm just really curious about this next chapter of like what this was sort of the thesis for the pod. It's like you're doing life entirely on your own, and you're doing it as a new person that you've never been before. And so my approach to like doing life now is like, I'm doing it new. I'm doing it all for like the first time, in a way. And I'm excited about it. I'm really optimistic. And it takes a lot of practice to keep, like, when you get tripped up on stuff, like when you want to flee your Airbnb, it takes a moment of rewiring to be like, okay, hold on, wait, who's the person I want to be? I used to write in my journal, like, respond as the person you're becoming. And that has taken me years. Like, that's not an overnight thing. That is a repetition again. So it's not easy to keep reminding yourself that you're not a victim and you're not in that old house anymore. Yeah, you're free, man. You are free. And there's a lot of potential ahead. And it feels really good and scary. But expansion to the Strange Orphan is gonna feel scary. And that's just the way it is. And let it be that way. Whoo! Thanks for stopping by. And I hope if you've made it this far on my journey with me, I love you. I deeply love you. And also, like and subscribe, for crying out loud. All right, guys. That's all I got tonight. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye.